So what is going on, guys? It's Triple G here, back with another Wonderlands video. In today's video, we're going to talk about 10 changes that Wonderlands needs to be pretty much the perfect game. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise, let's get straight into this video. So I'm going to go through 10 items here that I think this game needs in order to improve. If you have any ideas, or if I don't cover off any of your ideas, then let me know in the comments section below, and hopefully the devs will read this and make some improvements to the game. So first of all, first thing I'm going to talk about is respawnable bosses. There are a ton of named bosses in Wonderlands, but unusually when compared to other Borderlands games, these bosses are not respawning, meaning that you can't get access to these ridiculously good fights that you had through the story and farm them for their respective loot. The second thing that needs changing is loot luck. Now, if you didn't know, loot luck is the overbearing power of which defines whether or not you will get legendary items. The more dice, shrines, and collectibles that you get in Wonderlands means the better your loot luck, and therefore improves your chances of getting legendaries. However, at the moment, every time you start a new character, you will have to find those dice again, which is hours of content, which you don't really want to do for 6 times just so you can try out all 6 classes. What I would like to see here is the loot luck to be tied to the profile and not the character, meaning that if you were to actually start a new character and collect new dice, you wouldn't actually boost it because you'd already collected it on a previous character. This means as well that for additional playthroughs, you will get more fun out of the game because you'll get to try new legendaries. And of course, you don't have to pick up these legendaries and use them if you want to stay true to the vanilla kind of story playthrough. The third thing that we need to talk about is more enemies in the Chaos Chamber. It does feel a little bit empty at times. The way that the maps are laid out are pretty well all the way through in Wonderlands, but you do feel like I'm having to traverse for 5 or 6 seconds before I can find another enemy, and I'm searching my minimap for those red dots. I want to see those enemies like tripled towards us. Throw me lots of enemies. I really want to see that density go pumped up. Number 4 on the list is the Moon Orb currency changes. Now, it's quite clear that Gearbox doesn't want you to have an unlimited reroll here, and that's why they've limited the currency up to just 4,000. Now, I think this cap needs to go up quite substantially, maybe to at the very least 10 or 20,000. But I do understand the decision they have made about giving it a cap. They do not want you to just unlimited reroll until you get what you want. They want a risk associated with re-rolling and potentially lengthening the game by you going out and having to reacquire the gear. Number 5 on the list is spicy water. Now, what we mean by that is ever since Borderlands 3, the water conducts elemental damage, meaning that if you were to shoot the water or explode a barrel or do anything that has elemental damage in the water and you're stood in it, you're going to do self-damage. And because we pump out ridiculous big damage numbers, you just pretty much instantly down yourself, and that dot damage absolutely destroys you. So this makes the game incredibly annoying when you get modifiers that also bump that up as well. So by removing this from the game, it will make the game much more enjoyable. Next up, staying with the theme of the Chaos Chamber, there are a couple of modifiers that literally cover the floor with elemental damage, meaning that if you are a melee or an up close and personal character and have an up close and personal build, you really struggle with these modifiers, so much so that you probably just completely ignore choosing the harder modifiers just so you don't get some of these build breaking modifiers. I really don't like elemental pools. I think Gearbox could do a hell of a lot better in terms of brainstorming modifiers. There is definitely a ton of room for improvement here. Staying with the theme of the Chaos Chamber, the loot chest in the middle of the loot room at the end means that when you are getting those bunnies to spew out all the loot, all that loot can go all over the chest, and the chest has had loot, and it can be incredibly difficult to see your loot if you've poured thousands of diamonds into those bunnies. We need a way to be able for that to be spread out a little bit, and that, I think, is moving the chest forward so the bunnies don't overlap when they spew, and making that bunny spew it and spread it a little bit further. Number 8 is the stat sheets in the chaos chamber. When solo are pretty good, but when you are in a group, they actually group up your damage, your kills and everything, so you can't see which one of you has been doing all the slaying, and you just have to kind of assume that you've all pulled your weight here. These stat sheets should be individual so that you can compare each other's builds to each other and say, well, I was doing this amount of damage or you were doing that amount of damage. So that needs to improve as well. Number 9, cosmetics drop far too frequently in Wonderlands, and in particular they drop as purples as well. So quite often you think you've got a decent piece of loot and it is just a cosmetic. Now I understand the need for the cosmetics to keep dropping, particularly when you are playing in co-op, because you can share those cosmetics with other players, but the frequency in which that they drop at the moment is just far too high. Now the final thing on the list, which is number 10, is something to do with the secret bosses in the chaos chamber. If you don't want to know what the secret bosses is, skip forward about 30 seconds. Now for those still with us, there are secret bosses in the chaos chamber that you can do by solving puddles and little riddles in the chaos chamber. And if you then do all 3 of those in the chaos chamber back to back, you will unlock a secret. However, having killed all 3 and then having to fight something else, there are no ammo stations at all, meaning that we need an ammo station just before that final fight. They have these ammo stations that you can use for free for diamonds already in the game about halfway through the chaos chamber, so they just need to lift and drop and put these in just before that final fight, because every time that I have fought them, I have run out of ammo in my primary weapon. Guys, that's it for today's video. Please let me know in the comment section below if you agreed with any of these, disagreed with any of these, or you have any ideas yourself. Come and join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise I'll catch you on the flip.